Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Kathy Beltran, the host of Wings and Whispers. We are going to start our step 2, part 2 of our shaping and molding of our cardboard angel wings. And again, just to remind you, in case you're just coming in to this video, we are creating these angel wing sculptures, and we're actually working on a smaller size. So I hope that you are now ready for this stage. You should have 3 pieces cut out of your cardboard of your middle layer angel wing design. So for the sake of the video, I have one here. I've actually have all my layers done, and we will work on our second step now. So what I would do is, if you haven't already cut your slits in the top layer, which should be about 1/2 inch to 1 inch, all the way around to about here. You'll make about 1 inch slits. And then as you get closer to this area, you're gonna go from 1 inch to 3/4 to 1/2 to a 1/4 inch. And you'll do the same thing all the way around here. And to remind you, it's gonna help in our shaping and molding, as well as our sculpting of our neck and arches later on in further steps that we do. So first thing first is you're gonna saturate your paper or your cardboard. I've actually done quite a bit of this saturating, so I don't have to do too much here. You're going to want to make sure your tips about a thumb length smashes the ends of each of the feathers, smashes it together, and you can actually do a little bit of a curve at this point. So definitely work that in. If you need to add more water, go ahead and do that, because remember, we're going to continually mold and shape these, and there'll be times if your cardboard isn't, you'll have a harder time keeping it to stay in its shape. So at this point, I would lift up all your 1 inch slits, and it doesn't matter if they're shorter or longer. You can, when we get to that sculpting phase, you'll be able to cut more if you need to. So definitely have that. I would take my ruler, whatever size you want to use according to the size you're doing, and along, if you haven't drawn in your feathers separately, the lines between each of the feathers, you can do that. If you haven't done that yet, don't worry, just you'll gauge it. You'll want to fold and use this ruler and gauge it by the end tips, the corner between each space. So you're going to line it up and fold it over. You're going to do this all the way around until you get to the other side. So when I first got on here, you saw that they had actually had a shape already, and that's because they were already starting to dry. Right now, my paper is pretty saturated, so only these parts are coming up now. What I would do to mold this middle layer is I would again grab my base and start small first and kind of work it. And my main base, the first piece that we did, actually had some height. So I will come in and add that later. I will want to remove the bigger piece and go with a little bit smaller pool noodle size and kind of work the cardboard in, paying very close attention, like we did on the first layer, of the tips. So you want to make sure now you'll go further and kind of smash it together, and you'll see it starts to do a curve. So you definitely want to work with this, kind of smash it all together. And we'll do more with the pull noodle. So you could actually just do this and get the fold that way. So I just tend to move things all the way around. So I got some of that, making it more pliable. I'll go ahead and grab my big one again. Put that there. I know that I have added more height, and I want it to match up to my main piece, my main base piece. So that's pretty much the height of it. So I would come in and kind of mold to this side as well as this side, kind of get these feathers. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to worry about putting the weights on here right now because I want to do that step with the main base underneath. I would do this with each of these layers. So there'll be 3 of them medium size. Again, you'll want to pick the best one for the top. You'll want to make sure that when you are, working with each of the pieces, that you're actually going to be finishing on the correct side. So if you flip it over and start doing, some molding there, when you put it on and it dries, you're gonna be like, what the heck? Because the way you cut it and transfer with the transient paper, it actually makes the feathers bigger. It's kind of weird, but you just want to make sure you're operating on the right side. So before you start any of this, which each of the layers, you could label each piece on the middle piece 1, 2, 3. So you'll know which one should be on the top. So at this point, I'm going to pause it and grab my completed area so I can show you what to do with both of those 2 layers together. Okay, so I've transferred my main piece, the biggest layer that's already on its shaping tools. And then I've added the piece that we just did, the middle first layer, and I put that on there. At this point, what you will want to do is you want to, if you need to add more water to this piece, do that. Add a little bit more if you need it. You want to always be mindful of the first center layers on both of the first center feathers, which would be this one and this one, lining up correctly. You want it to dry in that position. So if you wanted to say, let me go ahead and cut another one of these. You could add some further dimension or height to your second layer feathers. You could take these little pieces and say you wanted to emphasize this area. Don't worry about this piece here showing because, this will be something we do later on. So I might fold it, cut a little piece and put it here. And I would do the same for the opposite side. I want to have a little bit of height on this area when it dries. So I want my layers to be more emphasized. I will come back in. I will take maybe my little medicine balls here, and I will get this shape. Remember, everything starts moving. And fold these pieces up, saturate it more, because I want that layer, the side of that feather, the side of that wing, to have that bowl shape, to follow along the bottom layer. So I will keep working that. I won't actually leave those there yet because I still have the other 2 layers that I need to get in the middle base. So luckily enough, I've done all that work. And so I would have 3 pieces. They would still all be saturated because I've worked it. I would take my clips for this one, keep them in place. And if you have more of these, great, but these bottom ones, you could just use those ones. You want to make sure everything is still lining up, all the layers, all the feathers. And this is where I would keep pushing down, pulling things up, pulling these slits up more, and then actually standing over like this and really getting in there. So I would then have both of these areas that I think I would like to see that dry exactly like that. And you'll have some balls, depending on, that don't want to cooperate, and then you might have to move the bigger pole noodles. So now, again, we might have the same problem with this one to lift up further. So you could come in with the top weight here. And so this is how I would let this layer dry on top. And if you're working all the layers at once and you're going to do this, you're going to use practically all this water. I actually fill this one up. So you would just do that and then keep moving things out and putting the middle layer on top of the base layer. Then when you work the top one, you would do the same thing. So for the sake of this video and the length, this is part 2. This is step 2, part 2 of the molding and shaping phase. So I will see you again soon with part 3 of the molding and shaping. Have a great day. Have fun shaping, molding, guys.